Sometimes, Mother Nature surprises you in unbelievable ways and fill your life with love and laughter. It all started that late afternoon. The wind started howling like I'd never heard before. It was one of those nights where the sky turns a menacing shade of green-gray, and every creak of the house sends a shiver down your spine. My husband, John, and I were just settling in for the evening, trying to ignore the angry rattle of the windows. He's 60, I'm 62, and we've lived on this farm our whole lives. We've seen our fair share of storms, but this one felt different. It felt personal. Just as John was about to make a joke about the weather having a tantrum, my phone let out that horrible, screeching alert tone. I fumbled for it, my heart already pounding. Tornado warning. The message was blunt, urgent. Seek shelter immediately. We looked at each other, and in that silent glance, a lifetime of understanding passed between us. We knew the drill. No panic, just action. We started our routine, grabbing the emergency kit from the hall closet, flashlight, batteries, a small radio, water bottles. John went to secure the back door while I rushed to unplug the main appliances. The wind was a physical force now, pushing against the house as if trying to knock it down. Then the rain started, not in drops but in solid sheets, blurring the world outside our windows into a watery mess. Our basement is more of a storm cellar. Really? It's damp and smells of earth, with concrete walls and a heavy reinforced door. Not comfortable, but it's safe. As we gathered our things to head down the rickety wooden stairs, a new sound cut through the roar of the wind. It was a high-pitched, desperate cry. I paused, straining to hear over the thunder that was now cracking directly overhead. Did you hear that? I asked John, my voice barely a whisper. He nodded, his face etched with concern, went to the back door, peering through the small glass pane, and there they were. Huddled against the side of the house, soaked to the bone, were 3 dogs. They looked like a motley crew of strays, a scruffy terrier mix, a lanky, shepherd-looking dog, and a smaller, trembling beagle type. They were crying, their whines almost swallowed by the storm, but their fear was unmistakable. My heart just broke. We couldn't leave them out there, not in this. The tornado sirens began to wail in the distance, a haunting chorus that signaled imminent danger. We have to bring them in, I said, already reaching for the doorknob. John didn't hesitate. Quickly, he urged. Opening the door was a battle. The wind ripped it from my grasp, slamming it back against the wall. Rain and debris flew into the kitchen. The dogs, startled and terrified, scrambled back at first. I knelt down, trying to make my voice as gentle and reassuring as I could over the chaos. It's okay. Come on. You're safe here. Come on, babies. Slowly, hesitantly, the scruffy terrier inched forward. He was shivering so violently I could see it from the doorway. The other 2 followed his lead, their bellies low to the ground. We coaxed them inside, and John managed to wrestle the door shut, locking it against the storm's fury. The moment they were inside, it was like they knew they were safe. They collapsed onto the kitchen rug in a wet, shivering heap. There was no time to properly attend to them, though. The house was groaning, and the sound of the approaching tornado was like a freight train getting closer and closer. Downstairs, now. John yelled, grabbing a pile of old towels. We herded our unexpected guests towards the basement door. They were scared of the stairs, but with a little gentle prodding and a lot of soothing words, we got them down into the cellar. We closed and bolted the heavy door just as the house above us began to shake violently. The lights flickered and died, plunging us into darkness. I clicked on the flashlight, its beam cutting a nervous path through the gloom. The 5 of us, me, John, and our 3 new companions, huddled together on the dusty floor. The roar was deafening now. We could hear things crashing and splintering above us. It felt like the world was being torn apart. I buried my face in John's shoulder, and he held me tight. The dogs, sensing our fear and sharing their own, pressed in close. The little beagle crawled right into my lap, trembling but seeming to find comfort in the contact. The big shepherd laid his head on John's knee, letting out a soft whine. We had no idea what was happening upstairs. All we knew was the terrifying noise and the feeling of the earth vibrating beneath us. It felt like an eternity, but it probably only lasted a few minutes. Then, as suddenly as it started, the deafening roar receded, replaced by the steady drumming of rain and the howl of the wind, which sounded less angry now, more mournful. We stayed in that cellar for 3 days. The storm system was slow moving, and the rain just didn't let up. The world outside was a flooded, chaotic mess. We shared our meager emergency rations, granola bars, and bottled water with the dogs. They were surprisingly well behaved, as if they understood the gravity of the situation. They were quiet, patient, and incredibly grateful for the shelter and the small kindnesses we could offer. During those 3 days, we got to know them. We named the scruffy terrier Barnaby because he had a wise old man's face. The gentle giant of a shepherd became Willow for her graceful, quiet nature. And the little beagle who had sought refuge in my lap, we called her Pip. They were no longer just strays. They were our storm companions. We talked to them, stroked their wet fur, and they, in turn, offered us a strange sense of comfort and purpose in that dark, cramped space. They were a welcome distraction from the worry of what we would find when we finally emerged. On the 3rd day, the rain finally stopped, and a watery sun tried to peek through the clouds. The silence was almost as unsettling as the noise had been. With trepidation, John unbolted the cellar door. The air that hit us was thick with the smell of wet earth, splintered wood, and ruin. We climbed the stairs, our hearts in our throats. The kitchen was a disaster zone. The window was shattered, and leaves and mud covered everything. But the house, miraculously, was still standing. We spent the next few days and weeks cleaning up. The farm was a mess. Fences were down, the barn had lost half its roof, and trees were scattered like matchsticks. It was overwhelming, but we weren't alone in the cleanup. Barnaby, Willow, and Pip were right there with us. They seemed to have appointed themselves our personal assistants and morale officers. As we worked to mend fences, Pip would supervise, trotting along the fence line with an air of great importance. Willow, with her calm presence, was just a comforting shadow, always nearby, ready with a gentle nudge of her head if we looked too discouraged. And Barnaby. He turned out to have an incredible instinct for herding. We have a small flock of sheep that had been scattered by the storm. Barnaby, with no training at all, helped us round them up. He was a natural, circling them with an intelligence and focus that was just astounding to watch. It's been a few years since that terrifying night. The farm is back in order, maybe even better than before. And Barnaby, Willow, and Pip are no longer our storm cellar guests. They are family. They are our farm hands, our guardians, and our best friends. They patrol the property, keep the sheep in line, and greet us every morning with wagging tails and boundless joy. Sometimes, when another storm rolls in, I'll see Pip's ears droop, or Willow will press a little closer to my side. And I'll wrap my arms around them and tell them they're safe. That night, the storm took so much, but it also gave us the most incredible gift. It brought us our 3 dogs, who wandered into our lives out of the wind and rain and found their way directly into our hearts. We rescued them from the storm, but in so many ways, they rescue us every single day. Thanks for listening to our story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales from our little farm.